So when you're doing these national park trips and maybe making those drives, do you guys have certain campgrounds that you like to stay in, like either a specific campground, or I know there's like big brands like KTA, for example, that has campgrounds kind of all over the country. Do you guys have like specific places you like to look out for when you are camping, I'm guessing, in these national parks?
Yes and no. So we always, before we go to a park, we always research and look at the national park website. And they have a list of options and what's open and like what the campground is like. And then we always call the ranger and ask them, hey, this is when we're coming. This is what we're thinking about doing. Where should we stay? And also in terms of like the drives, there are in the national forests, which are usually right around the parks, there are often like pull-offs that you can just camp at that are roadside camping, and they're free and they're primitive, so there's not like restrooms or anything, but there's usually fire pits and like sometimes if you're lucky you'll get a picnic table. One time we had a picnic table, swing, and a fire pit, which was cool. So they all vary, but if you call ahead of time, they always tell you like, hey, there's this in this area and you can check it out. So we usually don't stay at like campgrounds unless it's at a park. So we usually don't stay at like ones with like the COAs or the other one that you said. They're nice, but we just like a little bit more seclusion.
Okay. And so when you do these roadside ones, that sounds like it's probably just like a first come, first serve. But when you guys are in the parks, since again, you've gone to so many, do you normally reserve a spot, or how does that work for camping?
Yeah, so every park is a little different and every campground is a little different. Most you can reserve on reserveamerica.com. And if you have an annual pass as well, like a park pass, we have an America the Beautiful pass. It's a $80 pass for the year, and it gets you into all national parks, national forests. It gives you half off camping, which is really cool as well. And then it also gets you into some national monuments. So if you go to parks a lot, it's super worth it. So usually we reserve on Reserve America if they are reservable, but it'll say right on the National Park Service website. So if you type in like Smoky Mountain National Park into Google, one of the first websites should be the NPS site, and there's a little plan your visit tab. And right under that, it's like eating and sleeping, things to do, camping, all that kind of stuff. So usually we look at that first and get an idea, and then we call the ranger and be like, hey, this is what we're planning. And sometimes they're like, hey, that's a great idea. And other times they're like, no, you should definitely do this. And every time we've talked to a ranger, they have given us the best advice. And most of the time they tell you the areas like, hey, this is how you can get away from the crowd. And most people don't think to do that, but I tell everybody that goes, you have to call the ranger because they know the park better than anybody.
That's such great advice. I've never done that before, and I've done my fair share of camping, but the fact that they give you so much information, like I would feel like if I was making that call, like I would be bothering them or annoying them, but it sounds like they're like excited to share the info, so that's great to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you say like, this is our time frame, this is like what we're thinking, this is our skill level, they will, even if you have no idea what you're going to do and you tell them that, they'll be like, okay, here are your options. There's this, this, and this. And they're just a wonderful resource, and they are totally underutilized.